Good morning. And what a gorgeous one it is after our little blow yesterday. And welcome to Allen Avenue Unitarian Universalist Church's in-person and online worship. Whether today is your first time here or you've been coming for years, we're so glad you were with us. My name is Connie Cross. My pronouns are she and hers. And I'm a member of the Ferry Beach Committee and a SEG and the Don Redwood Meditation Group. We are a growing community that transforms lives through the power of love. Our mission calls us to celebrate diversity, encourage spiritual growth, and promote social responsibility while we travel on and care for the earth. A special welcome to those at home who are joining us on Zoom today. If you're attending for the first time, please go to our website and fill out the welcome card so we can know more about you. And we have a few announcements. Reverend Tara will join for Zoom coffee hour directly after worship today. If you're on Zoom, please stay for conversation. Please find Troy Moon after worship if you haven't signed up for the October 1st Covenant Workshop online and would like to. He has paper RSVP forms. And now for the picnic. Our apologies to those of you who may not have gotten the message that we have postponed the picnic until next Sunday. You know, 2 days ago when we had to make a decision, we thought there was going to be a lot of rain yesterday and things were going to be very soggy down at Ferry Beach. We thought there still might be wind down there today. We knew the high tide was at 1:15 today, and we thought there might be a lot of beach erosion and that the surf might be unsafe for folks, and especially for the little ones. And we decided to go on the side of caution, and so we postponed. And am I sorry? Yeah. Who knew? Just shows what bad weather prognosticators we are. And so we'll just keep our fingers crossed for next week and hope we have a day just as nice as this one. And again, I'm sorry for those of you who could only come today for the picnic and could not go on a rain date, but I'm happy for those of you who told me that you could only go on the rain date. You never can make everybody happy, I guess. Now we invite all of you to take this opportunity to silence your cell phones so that we can be fully present to one another. After the service, please grab a cup of coffee in the kitchen window. Oh, I'm not sure there is coffee today. Is there? Okay, I heard that there might be a little, we'll see. Anyway, stay for conversation, and in the foyer or out on the lawn, we encourage you to find someone you've never met before and introduce yourself. Those on Zoom may stay on and connect with one another and with Reverend Tara. And now let us center our hearts and minds with the ringing of the chimes.
Good morning, church. Good morning. So good to see a full room this morning, and hi, Zoom folks as well. I can't see you, but I know you're there, and that makes me happy. My name is Reverend Tara. For those of you I have not yet met, I use the pronouns she, her, and they, them, and I'm the transitional minister here at Allen A2U2 Church. It is good to be together. However you arrive here this morning, I invite you to take a breath as you begin to settle into your seat. This is a time of worship, a time set apart, where we don't leave our burdens aside, nor do we devote our full attention to them. It's a time that is sacred, where we bring what we carry here to this place where it can be held by many for this hour. Here to this place where we are reminded that it is but one element in the larger story of which we are a part. We'll reflect together today as we continue launching into this new church year on how we are called to bring one another along on our journeys into the future, making sure that as we chart our ways forward, we don't leave anybody behind. We'll bless our young people as they settle into a new year of learning and growth, reminding them that our love goes with them everywhere they go. And we'll open ourselves to the truth that the power to bless one another, to include one another, to set each other on the right path, is in our very own hands. So come to this place where all are welcome, all are needed, all are loved. Come, you are joyfully called to worship. As we light our sanctuary chalice this morning, those worshiping at home are invited to light a chalice or a candle near you to connect us with one another. We celebrate our desires to stretch our wings towards where we wish to fly and soar free.
And thus we make a bridge.
We affirm our commitment to remain connected to those who are still earthbound and captive, remembering that a bridge may be a footpath or an umbrella.
And thus we offer a bridge.
We acknowledge our own desires and also our interconnections with one another.
And thus we build stronger bridges.
We honor our own hearts and also the hearts of our neighbors, our friends, and fellow inhabitants of this ever perplexing world.
And thus we are a bridge.
And I was going to have us light a second candle this morning, a candle of community, and I forgot to put it out. Here it is. So there it is. This is why we need one another. So this candle of community, the intention behind it is meant to be lit for the human and non-human animals and land impacted by the hurricane and by other extreme patterns of weather exacerbated by climate change. We hold the reality of the changing climate in our hearts, and will you take a breath with me? Our opening hymn is number 347, Gather the Spirit, in your gray hymnal or up on the screen. Dale will play it through once, and then you're invited to rise in body or in spirit as we sing together. time for all ages this morning, we have a couple of different elements. And first, I have a little activity. And if you identify as a kid, I would really love your help up here. You don't have to come up, but if you would, it would be great. So, one of the questions, when I count to 3, I'd love to hear what grade you're in this year. 1, 2, 3. 35th preschool. First grade, third grade, kindergarten. John Howard? Kindergarten. I can't believe you're already in that grade. Whatever grade you're in is an awesome grade to be in.
He looped around and came back.
He looped around and came back because the circle of life.
Yeah.
What about you two? What grade?
I'm in 5th grade. He's in pre-K.
5th grade and pre-K. Awesome. So Emily, will you hold up this book?
Yes.
Have any of you ever read The Invisible String Backpack? Anybody? No. So it's a new book that Emily and I got, and we loved it. It's about a kid who's nervous about going back to school until, I'm going to still need y'all, until they learn about their invisible string backpack. Their invisible string backpack connects them with the people they love, their siblings or parents or guardians or grandparents, whoever makes them feel strong and connected and brave. In this story, this kid learns that anytime they are feeling unsure or feeling lonely or scared or just need to be reminded that they are loved, they can tug on that string coming out of their backpack, and the people on the other end of the string, the invisible string, who love them, will tug right back. So I'm wondering again if our kids could come back up here. If the kids can come back up here, because I'm going to need your help in a moment, and I promise I won't ask you any more questions. So can I have that backpack? And then I want the grown-ups who brought these kids today to stand up in body or in spirit. We're going to do something special, and I need everybody's help. So in this basket here, I have just enough invisible string backpacks for everyone. You want to take one? And
Tara,
I
I see.
Put it on.
I see some kids in the back that
Take your invisible
we're talking
string
about
backpack.
all kids through high school.
Oh, yes, I sure am. All right, get your invisible string backpack. Did you get an invisible string backpack? There's just enough for everyone. You don't have to take one. It's okay. There we go. All right, put them on. Put them on. Adjust your straps. Did you get one? Invisible string backpack for everybody. I know. All right. So, you're going to grab hold of the invisible strands. Pull them tight. And then grown-ups, I bet you can see those invisible strands, can't you? Can you see them? So you're going to hold those invisible strands too, and you're going to give them 3 tugs to remind these folks that you love them and that you are right here. Ready? Let's count together. 1, 2, 3. Can you feel it? Awesome. All right, so everybody else, you get up too, because you also love these people. And Zoom folks, you don't need to stand up, but you can grab your strings as well, because I bet they go all the way through the Zoom into your houses, through your screens. Now gather as many invisible strings as you can, because there's no limit to how many you can get. All right? Now those of you up front with the invisible string backpacks on, give those strings a little tug. And now everybody else, say nice and loud while you tug. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, it is so good to know how many people we have behind us. Okay, this time we're going to do it again, 1, 2, 3, but we're going to do it with a whisper. Ready? Pull, 2, 3. And this time, Kids, give your string a little tug. All right, so grown-ups, can you feel that? You're still connected. Now this time, silently, we're gonna pull our strings. Ready? Did you feel it? Pretty awesome, right? So I want you to remember today that when you go to school or that hard doctor's appointment or that hard meeting or that thing that feels like you don't really want to do it or you feel kind of lonely, when you're feeling unsure, all you have to do is pull just a little bit.
And you have your whole A2U2 community behind you, reminding you that you are loved with a little tug, tug, tug. To remind you of this, we have backpack blessing tags to go on your actual backpacks or any other bag you carry, like a diaper bag or a toy bag. You'll get them when you go to RE because we have to bless them first. We're going to bless them along with the backpacks and bags that some of us brought today. So I know that you all can't see what I have in this basket. I love surprises, and I also love practicing patience. So
It's also not invisible.
it's not invisible. These are not invisible. So I have put tags up here. So after the service, you can come look at them here. Okay. Congregation, please extend your hands forward if you are so moved. And Tara, actually, can you hold these out for them? These backpack tags are a reminder of the blessings of this this congregation bestows upon you, its youngest members. Our wish is for you to know that the God of your understanding is with you not only in spirit, but in the faces and hands and hearts of those who love and support you in this, the beginning of a new year of learning and growing. May you feel our love surrounding you. May you extend it to others as you carry the flame of peace and love. You are blessed and blessed. In a few moments, some of us will leave the sanctuary to enjoy religious education programming. But first, I invite our lamplighter, Aya, to join me in the pulpit. A lamplighter is entrusted to transfer the light of the sanctuary chalice to the lamp and then go forth to RE spaces where they will light the chalices there. I invite those going to RE to follow our lamplighter Aya as we carry the flame, expanding our sacred space.
Just because I didn't give you an invisible string backpack doesn't mean you don't have one on already. I have a prayer to share with you this morning by Robert Monson. Walker over waters. Walker over the waters, would you come and walk alongside me? As you did in those before days, catching a beloved friend sinking, would you come and catch me as I sink? Knowing my faith can't possibly be contingent upon just myself, knowing that the storms of life overwhelm me regularly, daily even. In a moment, I acknowledge you being able to say, "Peace, be still," to the winds and waves, to the core of my soul. Yes, I pray to you, walker over the waters. Walk with me now, please. Walk with me every day to come. May it be so.
We are a freely gathered, open, and welcoming faith community supported by your contributions. Each week, 1/3 of our offering is given away to a nonprofit organization whose mission aligns with our Unitarian Universalist values. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Family Promise, whose mission is to help low-income families and families experiencing homelessness achieve sustainable independence. You can find more information in your order of service. Donations can be made now as the basket is passed through the donate button on our website, or if you are a member, on Breeze. If giving through Breeze, please note if the donation is your pledge or a gift to our Share the Plate. If you are visiting us for the first time this morning, please know that your presence is your gift to us. At this time, our offering will be collected and gratefully received.
have another story for you. I was feeling the stories. Sometimes stories just really do the trick. So, once upon a time, there was a wise woman who lived by herself in a small village. Rumor had it that she could always accurately predict when the rains would come, unlike our weather people. She could help heal a sick child with herbs. She could calm angry neighbors and help them resolve their arguments. People came from all over the land to seek out her advice on matters both small and great. And her reputation was such that it was said that she was never wrong. Some of the kids in the village didn't believe it was possible to always be right. Smart. Surely she could not know everything. So they decided to test her knowledge. First, they asked her questions about the planets, the animals, and the world. And no matter how hard the question, she always answered correctly. They were amazed at her knowledge and learning, and most of them were ready to stop testing the woman because leave her alone. However, there was one feisty soul who wanted to really prove that this woman could not possibly know everything. So he hatched a devious scheme. He told all his friends to meet him at her home the following afternoon so he could prove it once and for all. All through the next day, he hunted for a bird. Finally, he caught a small songbird in a net. Holding it behind his back so no one could see what was in his hands, he walked triumphantly to the wise woman's home, knocking on her door and saying, "Old woman, come and show us how wise you are now." She walked calmly to the door. "May I help you?" she asked. "You say you know everything. Prove it. What am I holding behind my back?" "What am I holding behind my back?" She thought for a moment. She could make out the faint sounds of birds' wings rustling. "I say I don't know everything," she said, "for that would be impossible. However, I do believe you are holding a bird in your hands." And he was furious. The boy was furious. How could she possibly have known there was a bird behind him? So thinking quickly on his feet, he came up with another scheme. He would ask the woman whether the bird was alive or dead. If she replied alive, he would crush it. This is awful, I know. And prove her wrong. If she answered dead, on the other hand, he would pull the living bird from behind his back and allow it to fly away. Either way, he would prove his point, and she would be discredited in front of all his friends. "Very good," he called out. "It is a bird. But tell me, is the bird I'm holding alive or dead?" The wise woman paused for a moment while he waited with anticipation for the opportunity to prove her wrong. And again, she spoke calmly like wise people do. "The answer," she said, "is in your hands. The answer is in your hands." And the boy realized that once again she had spoken correctly and truthfully. The answer indeed was in his own hands. The bird was feebly moving in his hands as it tried to escape, and suddenly he felt very ashamed. The answer was in his hands. And so slowly and gently he brought his hands to the front of his body. Looking into the eyes of the delicate bird, he apologized. "I am so sorry, little one." And he opened his hands and let her go free. The end.
the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world, and change will come to you. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world, and change will come to you. Be the voice you want to hear in the world. Be the voice you want to hear in the world. Be the voice you want to hear in the world, and change will come to you. Be the light you want to shine in the world. Be the light you want to shine in the world. Be the light you want to shine in the world, and change will come to you.
About a year ago, as I was beginning my shared ministry with all of you, I stumbled upon a piece on NPR about baby puffins. The article by Alicia Hubbard is entitled, "Why It's Perfectly Normal to See Baby Puffins Thrown Off Cliffs in Iceland Each Year." Obviously, I was intrigued. Watching thousands of baby puffins being tossed off a cliff, she writes, is perfectly normal for the people of Iceland's Westman Islands. Atlantic puffin chicks, known as pufflings, hatch high on the sea cliffs of Iceland, where they live until they're ready to depart for a few years at sea before returning to the mainland to breed. The pufflings find their way from the cliffs to the sea by the light of the moon. But over time, the moonlight has become obscured by the lights of the city. So the birds have taken to flying into town instead of out to sea. Enter Puffling Patrol. Hubbard describes residents of the Westman Islands running nightly mid-August through mid-September through the streets with flashlights and cardboard boxes, collecting wayward pufflings that have crashed into town after mistaking human lights for the moon. Releasing the fledglings at the cliff the following day, she writes, sets them on the correct path. Now, there are 3 ways to release these puffins. One is taking them out of the box and placing them on the edge and hoping that they'll jump. But they went through all that work to get them there. And so there are 2 other methods that they use. One is the underhand toss. This. And the other is the football throw. These are real. The other is the football throw, where you get your hands underneath the wings and you go for the overhand launch. And then they fly off, and they do what they need to do. Now, puffins mate for life and incubate at most 1 egg per year. So each puffin caught and released, set on the right path, is absolutely vital for the survival of the species. Recognizing that this problem is a human-created problem, as many problems are, the Icelandic people have taken responsibility for correcting it, and the survival of the species has come to rely on them. It's a story of the dangerous impact of human behavior on the non-human animals and land with whom our shared life is bound. It's a story of recognizing this impact and taking the responsibility of righting our relationships with those impacted. It's a story of what it can take to get on and stay on the right path. It's a story of a people committed to leaving no bird behind, even if it takes a late night search with a flashlight and a cardboard box. One of the reasons I was so enthralled by this story, other than the fact that, the title, come on, or the fact that I love animals, one of the reasons I was so enthralled is because it reminded me of the parable of the 99 sheep found in the Gospel of Matthew. In the parable, Jesus uses the example of a shepherd who has 100 sheep and one goes missing. The shepherd leaves the 99 others and searches high and low for the one lost sheep, illustrating that core universalist promise that nobody is outside the circle of love, nobody is unworthy of our finding and setting on the right path. The other reason I was so taken by these puffins is that beginning a transitional ministry felt a little bit like being launched off a cliff onto an uncharted path. Perhaps it felt like that for you too. Or perhaps it was more like being launched back onto an old, well-trod path that, because of the chaotic nature of life and pandemics and things, had become hard to see. Sometimes I feel like I'm the one throwing you off the cliff. Covenant, search, rethink community life, change the 7 principles. Yeah. Other times I feel like we're running around in the dark with boxes and flashlights together, trying to make sure we're not forgetting any parts of our shared ministry that we should be tending to, trying to make sure nothing and no one gets left behind. So it's no wonder I saved this article and rediscovered it in a stack of papers with a sticky note that said, "Preach on this." And so I wonder, what do you make of this story of Pufflings and the people of the Westman Islands, the real-life parable of the lost sheep? Can you see yourself in it? Can you see a version of what we are called to do, who we are called to be? As Unitarian Universalists, as people of commitment and community and faith? In the Indian folktale I shared earlier, we were reminded by the wise woman's response to the young boy's question, "Is the bird alive or dead?" The answer is in your hands. The answer is in our hands. An invitation to remember our agency, the power we have to impact the present, and in so doing, the future. Sometimes, like in the folktale, the answer is literally in our hands. He could harm the bird or free the bird. In the story of the Icelandic Pufflings, too, the answer is in their hands. Their hands which pick up the lost and confused and lagging, who put them in a safe, clean space, and who physically released them onto the right path. Just as the Pufflings rely on the persistence, commitment, patience, and kindness, and good humor and faith, I would add, of human hands to pick them up and help them on their way, so too do we in so many ways. So too do we rely on the persistence, commitment, patience, and kindness and good humor of those in our community to help launch us onto the right path and to find our sea legs when the waves get rough. Sometimes we need to be found, to be taken in, to be left on the edge to launch when we're ready. Sometimes we need to be launched against our wishes, because deep down we know we are ready, but we're also scared. Now, the moment we don't think we need it, the moment we don't think we need it, this finding and caring and guiding, the moment we think we don't need the hands and the love and the tender push of another, that we've got it all on our own, that we can always decipher the city lights from the moon, that is when we get into trouble. That is when we get into trouble, because we need each other. We need each other. Even the most competent of us with the best instincts like the birds will always be led astray by life, because life is hard and confusing, and there are so many lights and so much change, and we simply weren't built to do it alone. We have these invisible strings, which you're familiar with now. We have these invisible strings that connect us to all that is, that tethers us through one another to the Spirit of life herself, to God, to that larger love than we could ever imagine. And in the same way that we are called to receive help and shelter and redirection and a strong nudge when it's clear we're ready, we are also called to give, to be the hands of love for those people in our lives who we encounter, the lost sheep, the Pufflings, in need of shepherding, in need of shelter, in need of love, in need of someone to help them get back on their path. Perhaps not running through the street, the darkened street, with boxes and flashlights, but maybe. And so the question is this: people of community, people of universal love, shall we create the conditions for life or death? Heaven here on earth or a living hell? Movement or stagnancy? Shall we choose the individual, the path of go it alone, or allow ourselves to be brought back into the fold, even if it's hard or we don't feel like we deserve it? And the answer is, well, we already know the answer. People of faith, the hands and feet of divine love here on this earth, that the answer is in our hands. So may we use our hands well, whether we throw underhand or football style or however else we get it done. May we use our hands well. Blessed be, and amen. Our closing hymn is in your teal hymnal, number 1020, Woe Ya Ya. Dale will play it through once, and then we'll rise in body or in spirit and sing together. As we extinguish our chalice, and as those of you at home extinguish your chalices, may we find the courage to revel in the experience of the mystery. May we approach the unknown with excitement. May we celebrate the curiosity that leads to searching. May we meet ourselves along the way. And now we're going to try something new. I'm going to say our worship has ended, and you're going to respond by saying our service begins. Are you ready? Our worship has ended. Our service begins. Go in peace.